Good evening and welcome. I'd like to call the order of the Pennsylvania County Board of Supervisors meeting on Tuesday, July the 16th, 2024 at 7 p.m. Board meeting room at 39 Bank Street, Southeast Chatham, Virginia. Ms. McCluster, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, sir. Mr. Whittle?
Here.
Mr. Bowman?
Here.
Mr. Ingram?
Here.
Mr. Dudley?
Present.
Mr. Height?
Here.
Mr. Tucker?
Present.
Mr. Dalton?
Here. Moving to item 3. Would you all join me in a moment of silence, and then we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Stand together.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. Moving to item 5. Are there any items to be added to the agenda?
Yes, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Ingram?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Item 13C, EMS drug box funding.
13C.
You going to read the motion? Or
No,
just hold
I
it?
think Mr. Tucker, he's got the motion to add everything, and we'll take care of that one when we get to matters from work session.
Yeah, ours are
Okay.
matters from
Thank
the
you.
work session.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Tucker.
Mr. Chairman, I'll offer you a motion. We add from the work session, this goes on the consent agenda, add DPCS Stanton River District appointment, item 7N, add resolution 2024-7-05 drought declaration from matters work session, item 13A. Add resolution 2024-07-06 Stanton River Plaza grant application, matters from the work session, item 13B. Add EMX drug box funding to matters from the work session, item 13C. And add solid waste matters from that work session as item 13D.
Yes. I'll second the motion.
All right. Got a motion by Mr. Tucker, second by Mr. Dudley. Any further discussion on the motion? Not hearing any. We're ready to vote. Motion carries unanimous. Moving to item 6, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
All right, thank you, Mr. Dudley. Second by Mr. Ingram. Any further discussion? If none, we're ready to vote. Motion carries unanimous. Moving to item 7, I'll entertain a motion for the consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make that motion.
All right, Mr. Bowman, we got a motion by Mr. Bowman, a second. Second by Mr. Height. Any further?
Yeah, would that be with the contents added earlier? Is that correct? Yes, sir. Okay.
Yes, sir. Do we need to redo that motion? Are we
We're
good?
good.
Okay, sounds
Because we
good.
done approved it, yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you, Darryl.
Any further discussion? If none, we're ready to vote. Motion carries unanimous. Item 8, we have some presentations. We'll all move to the front of the boardroom. Yes, sir. I just thought about it. Okay. It's good. This is baseball. Yes, yes. Oh, Kayla's gonna give it to us. Yeah. Come on down. There any family members? Anybody like to join? All right. There. Yeah, doing great. Thank y'all for being here. All right. Hey, Tony. Tony Moon, what you doing, brother? Hey, man. How you doing, brother? All right. Doing good. You too, brother. Good to be here. Okay. All right, thank you. Yes, sir. Yeah.
They caught Dalton on the road while ago. I jumped. I thought they caught
Oh, yeah, yeah. You thought you was, yeah, I hear you.
Scared me
Yeah.
with 2 of them in the room.
All right, everybody down. Thank y'all for being here. This is such a great accomplishment. Y'all done a great job. And we have a certificate of excellence here, and I'm going to read it. The Gretna Hawks varsity baseball team defined the expectation had an impressive ending of their season. Despite a record of 8-14, this season marked the highest number of wins in several years. The team's remarkable journey included reaching the state finals for the first time in 23 years, where they faced the same opponent as years before. They competed closely against Lebanon High School, but unfortunately lost with a close score of 5-4. Notable, this season also saw their first victories over Tunstall and Chatham High School in over 26 years, showcasing their determination and growth throughout the season. The Pennsylvania County Board of Supervisors expresses its deepest congratulations and admiration to the Gretna Hawks baseball team for their amazing accomplishment and wish them all the best in their future endeavors. Gretna High School varsity baseball given this 16th day of July 2024, Robert M. Tucker Jr., Vice Chairman, Darrell W. Dalton, Chairman. Thank y'all.
This lady right here is going to tell y'all where to go.
They're going to want some pictures. Is there any more family members want to come down and get in the picture? Any family members? You good? All right. Is it all right to leave this here?
Field is.
Oh, is it? Okay. Come on up in.
Oh, it's
Coming over here. Get up in there, brother.
Tony, look.
We're going to get close.
They like to play jokes.
I'm gonna move this,
Okay.
we'll move it back. I'm
You got
sorry.
it? You good?
I'm gonna move this, we'll move it back. So I move it back and then we'll move it again. Once you've read it, I'll come and move it for the picture. There we go.
Good evening to everyone. Are there any parents that want to join them up here? Any other coaches? All right. I have the distinct honor of recognizing Gretna High School Hawks basketball team. This is a certificate of excellence. The Gretna High School Hawks basketball team had an outstanding season with an overall record of 16-10 and the regional record of 8-4, finishing second in the district for the second consecutive year. Additionally, the team secured a 41-33 victory over Martinsville, becoming Gretna's first ever Region C champions. They continued their run by advancing to the state tournament for the first time in 24 years. There they competed closely against Graham High School, but unfortunately lost with a score of 65-71. The Hawks had a great season, and the Pennsylvania County Board of Supervisors expresses its deepest congratulations and admiration to the Gretna boys basketball team for their amazing accomplishments and wish you all the best in your future endeavors. Gretna High School boys basketball. Given this 16th day of July 2024, Robert M. Tucker, Jr., Vice Chair, Darrell W. Dalton, Chairman, Pennsylvania County, Virginia. Congratulations.
Now we got the ones from Mr. Bowman. All right, Mr. Bowman, I'm gonna fix you up here, boy. Get your podium here. Yeah, I'm gonna get
Thank you. Thank you. All right, Shannon, you want to come up? All right, so we're gonna do this on the fly here. We haven't rehearsed it, but I think we'll be able to get through it. This is in recognition of the love sign that sits at ODAC. And this is recognizing people and companies that participated in making sure that this sign was established. And it's something that's been a great asset to Pennsylvania County and a draw for tourism. And I want to introduce Mr. Tucker. He's going to help. It's in the Bannister District, the ODAC is. And Shannon, newly minted, Dr. Shannon Hare with DCC. He's also the incoming president for the chamber, and both of these folks are going to assist in handing out these certificates. So if you'll bear with me just a moment here, I'm going to read a little background. So the Love Works program is a statewide initiative of the Virginia Tourism Corporation designed to promote family-friendly vacation experiences with travelers of all ages interacting with structures of all Virginia, and in keeping with the Virginia's for Lovers message. Locals and travelers are drawn to the signs as a backdrop for photos of special occasions and memorable road trips. In early 2022, after discussion about the perfect spot for a love sign, a working group approached the Old Dominion Agricultural Complex about the possibility of erecting one on the ODAC grounds. The ODAC board approved the idea. The group then approached the Pennsylvania County Board of Supervisors, asking for support in the endeavor to create a new love sign. Once given all green lights, an application was submitted to the Virginia Tourism Corporation for a grant through the Virginia is for Lovers Love Works program. Along with the grant and the generosity of our local businesses and organizations, the sign became a reality and was unveiled in 2023. I would like to recognize all of those who sponsored in some way as a volunteer, donated funds, or provided in-kind materials to the creation of our sign. Their commitment and involvement in this county is appreciated, and we thank them for realizing the importance of working together to enhance our community. The value of materials provided was approximately $12,000, along with the value that cannot be placed on the hours of labor. A kiosk is erected next to the sign that allows visitors to scan the QR codes to learn more about each business and organization and sponsor. Visitors are directed to the site of the local businesses and organizations who contributed. In addition, visitors are sent to the county's website where they can find a link to our trail of love signs in Pennsylvania County, which are located in downtown Chatham, downtown Gretna, and Wayside Park in Hurt. I would ask that representatives from the following step forward and line up along the front here as your name is called. And if I don't have your name here and it's just the business, then just if you're representing, please come forward. So Old Dominion Ag Complex, Pennsylvania County's largest destination and event venue. Lee Cassida, Director of ODAC, and Lisa Shorter, ODAC Board Member. And let me read, I'll read one certificate. All these certificates are the same. So Certificate of Appreciation, the Pennsylvania County Board of Supervisors expresses its sincere appreciation for your generous contribution, volunteer service, and dedication to the Pennsylvania County community in support of the Virginia is for Lovers love sign. Your commitment and selfless efforts have made a significant impact toward tourism efforts and the beautification of our county. Old Dominion Agriculture Complex, given this day, 16th day of July 2024, Kenneth L. Bowman, Chatham Blair's District, and Darrell W. Dalton, Chairman. Amthor International Incorporated, leader in custom aluminum, steel, tanks, and who fabricated the love sign letters frame. Thank you to Brian Amthor, owner, and Mark Agee, plant manager. Representing Amthor tonight is JoJo Friday, marketing manager, and Jackie Martin, HR director. The Home Place Vineyard, another of the county's destinations loaded with entertainment, dancing, and of course, great wine. On the design committee funding, Mary and Chris Smith. Chatham Rotary Club, design committee and funding, Elisa Davis. Chatham First, design committee and funding, Elisa Davis. She gets two. Tim Hilliard, Marketing and Promotions LLC, creation, design of the kiosk plaque. Todd Bro, State Farm, and Melissa Bro created the QR codes for the kiosk plaque. I'm not sure he's here. Elite Fabrication LLC created the backdrops to the letters, Michael Coleman. KG Graphics created the graphic artwork to the letters, Kristen Gussler. How did this one get in here? Working group facilitator, Brenda Bowman. You got to go home. Southside Concrete Supply, who poured the concrete pad, is not with us tonight, but Ronnie Sawyers was responsible for that work, so we'll get this to him. Warren Shelton, PLLC law firm, created the contracts for sponsored commitments and future upkeep of the sign. Colby Warren, the attorney, cannot be with us tonight, but we'll make sure we get this to him. Now I'd like to introduce Shannon Hare, who's Vice President of DCC, Institutional Advancement and Development of DCC, who is also the incoming chair of the Danville, Pittsylvania County Chamber of Commerce. He'll have a few comments. And then Mr. Tucker, if you'd like to say a few words, that would be great also. All right? Thank you. Shannon.
Thank you, Supervisor Bowman. It's always dangerous to give the fundraiser in the room the microphone. You never know when he's going to stop talking. Tourism in our county is the quiet giant that we often overlook. The revenue from our parks, from our ball tournaments, from our socials, and even the events at ODAC provide great revenue for this county. I'm blessed to be able to take my DCC hat off tonight and put on my chamber hat, because there are businesses here that may not actually be a member of the chamber, and we would encourage you to become a member of the chamber. I would like to personally thank this working group for your intentional work to build community through love. Let's please give these men and women another round of applause. Now I'm going to put my DCC hat back on. So on August the 2nd and August the 3rd, the Danville Community College Educational Foundation is putting together their 4th annual Suds, Swine, Sippin' and Song event. Over 400 people can attend this, and there's an anonymous donor that has purchased 7 tickets for each Board of Supervisor tonight to attend this event. This is the event. Love for anyone in the audience to look at purchasing a ticket, but it's important to know that these supervisors have been invited to attend this, and thank you for giving the chamber an opportunity to speak tonight. Have a great evening.
Again, I've not prepared any remarks. I just have to speak extemporaneously. I want to salute all of these individuals that are representing your companies and your organizations for, supporting this effort to get these love signs out. We know Virginia is for lovers, and what a wonderful way to market Virginia, the community, in terms of our extending love to the human family from all walks of life. So again, I say thank you, and we wish you all the best in the future. Thank you.
All right.
Look, I know y'all hot. You don't take your jacket off. It's fine. I'm gonna have to call Dr. Jones tomorrow and ask him if he needs some money. Make sure it's cool next month.
Moving to item 9, hearing of the citizens. Each person addressing the board under hearing of the citizens shall be a resident, landowner of the county, or registered agent of such resident or landowner. Each person shall step up, give his or her name and district in an alternate tone of voice for the records, and unless further time is granted by the chairman, shall limit his or her address to 3 minutes. No person shall be permitted to address the board more than once during the hearing of the citizens. All remarks shall be addressed to the board as a body and not any individual member thereof. Hearing of the citizens shall last a maximum of 45 minutes. Any individual that signed up to speak said session who does not get the opportunity to do so because of the aforementioned time limit shall be given speaking priority at the next board meeting. Absent chairman approval, no person shall be able to speak who has not signed up. Ms. McCluster, do we have anyone signed up?
Yes, sir. Chuck Angier.
Welcome, Mr. Angier.
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Chuck Angier, and I am from the Callens-Gretna District. I wanted to make the Board of Supervisors and the public aware of two pieces of legislation that will be taken up by the General Assembly in January. that will have an impact here in this county. One is House Bill 636. What that could potentially do is relieve you of your authority to grant or not grant siting permits for solar facilities, and give that right, give that authority to the State Corporation Commission. It also would exempt any facility that gets its approval from the State Corporation Commission, an exemption to any ordinances or any other regulations in the local jurisdiction. This would remove your authority, and it's kind of like the camel getting his nose under the tent. And the second one is another piece of legislation that will forbid the counties from limiting solar development to any less than 4% of the total land area. Right now, we're at 2% of any zoning district, if I remember right. And this would be under panels, not total acres, but the acreage under panels. So we're looking at potentially 630,000 acres times 4%, and double that because you've always got the buffers and all involved. So that's going to make us have to redo our solar ordinance and potentially increase our acreage in solar farms by a magnitude of possibly 4 to 8. So come January, I hope to gather up a group of people to go to Richmond. Hopefully I can gather up some supervisors from different counties that have been impacted by solar facilities and go down there and talk those folks out of this nonsense. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your service.
Thank you, Mr. Andrews.
Thank you, Chuck. Appreciate you, buddy.
Ms. McCluster, we have anyone else signed up?
Yes. John Zielinski.
Welcome, sir.
Howdy, howdy. John Zielinski, Chatham, Blair. I'm here looking at you guys. You got a 6-month review. You've been in the job for 6 months. I'm trying to figure out what you have done to benefit the citizens of Pennsylvania County. The only thing I come up with is raise taxes. Have you done anything to reduce costs at all? The other thing you did, you fired the county administrator. Then you took 90 days to try to put a temp in there. I mean, that's incredible. It really is. To me, this spells mismanagement by our Board of Supervisors. I mean, this would never happen at a corporation or a company. What's really scary is that you're going to have to hire somebody else. And I don't think a lot of you are really qualified to do it. And you displayed that already with who you had before. Tell me I'm wrong. I don't know. I got some questions, though. You know, you raise taxes, you haven't reduced costs, you haven't done anything on that. You just sit up there and you make decisions. And some of the decisions you're making, I guess the best way to really qualify it is ready, fire, aim. You know, you look at this thing, make a decision, do no thought behind it, no questions behind it. I got some questions, though. When you go through the budget, and this is available to all the citizens on in the county, because that's where I got it from. And it's really the accounts payable and what you pay. Before I go any further, let me remind you of what the organizational chart is for Pennsylvania County. First one on the list is citizens, us. Next one is you guys. Next one is the departments. Bear that in mind. My question when I went through the accounts payable, does anybody look at it? Okay, you're not going to answer, and I know what the answer is. No, you don't look at it. But I have, and I just got a couple questions. Why does the Board of Supervisors need a Sam's Club executive membership for $110? Answer me that. How do I get some of these answers back from you guys? Why are we paying a radio station every month? You can't hear it in some of the districts. Definitely can't hear it in Brownsville. Another question I have, where's the brownfield at? Because brownfield you spent $54,439 on. If you need dates on these, I can give you these dates. Maintenance and repair of buildings. What do we have a maintenance department for? Do we really need it if we have to go to outside sources to do this? The other thing I see on this is consulting. Hired consultant, go wrong with confidence. You hired one for property improvement for $57,000 or $5,700, and one for solar for $8,600. Employee events. What do you mean employee events? You had a food truck come in for HR. You paid $202 for that one. Then you had another employee event. This is all in June, by the way.
Sir, you're going to have to start winding it down. Your 3 minutes is up.
I know it's up.
Okay.
You want me to continue, or you want me to
No, sir.
continue
Just
with this
start
embarrassment?
winding it down.
Well, I got a lot more on this list. Let me tell you, $34,000 for food. Ross Innovation Employment. This one really gets me. You spent $145,000 for this group, and they're in Martinsville, I guess. But then what you did was pay another $900 as a bonus for them. It doesn't make sense. How can we get some answers on this?
Thank
my
you for
next
coming,
question.
sir. Come
Yeah,
on back next month.
I didn't think you would like this.
All right, thank you.
Ann Smith.
You need a mic, ma'am? You want to sit down? You can stand there, okay.
Sure. A chair over there we can give her.
Welcome.
Good evening, Board of Supervisors.
Can you pull,
Ma'am.
ma'am, can you pull the mic down where we can hear you? Thank you.
Can you hear this?
Yeah.
Is that good?
That's good. Thank you.
Good evening, Board of Supervisors. My name is Ann Smith, and I own land at 985 Cedar Road, adjacent to the proposed rezoning for a data center. I did speak before the Planning Commission on June the 4th, but I'm not sure they understood the consequences of the data center in our community, just the taxes that it will create. We already deal with the First Piedmont landfill and increased air traffic from the airport due to the casino in Danville. I don't think we need to continue to be the dumping grounds for everything negative that comes into Pennsylvania County, since it is the largest county in the state of Virginia, when other areas could accept this very easily and would not be in the middle of a neighborhood. Anchor Stone Advisors, a group that was organized January the 8th, 2024, are trying to push this through without considering how many lives it will affect. I did visit the data center in Boynton, Virginia. It's approximately 1 hour from here. It is over 1 million square feet in size. It is huge, but no houses are around it. At night, the lights light up the sky like Las Vegas or New York City. There was also a buzzing sound that came from that building. It has huge fences all the way around it. It's unbelievable. If any of you get the chance, please go to a data center before you make a decision. According to the Code of Virginia, and I quote, "All legislative efforts are intended to improve public health, safety, and the welfare of the citizens, as well as to provide for healthy family life and to preserve agricultural and forest lands. The primary purpose of the zoning law is to separate owners' land whose use is detrimental to others. You must be sure that all your decisions and recommendations be directed to the goals of the Code of Virginia. Even a special permit," and I quote, "should not have undue adverse impact on the abutting properties or surrounding neighborhoods. We feel that the sale of this property is contingent on your vote to rezone. You do have the power to stop this from happening. In conclusion,
30 seconds remaining.
as a citizen, a voter, a taxpayer, and a representative from my community, I plead with each of you, do not allow this business to come in. It is too many questions and concernings pertaining this company. Please think about how you would feel seeing these bright lights at night and hearing this noise and the increased traffic that it will produce. I know that you will represent the citizens as you were elected to do so in the right way and not just think about money. Other businesses will come to Pennsylvania County to create taxes for this county. I thank you for your time.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Linda Galden.
Welcome.
Hello, my name is Linda Brooks Galden. I live on Cheney Store Road in the Dan River District. I am here to ask the board to vote no on the rezoning proposal by the Anchorstone LLC Investment Group for the property on 58 East Cedar Road for M2 zoning for a proposed data center. We realize the county administrative leaders see this project as a big money-making tax revenue coming in. The county lost a huge opportunity a couple of years ago when they voted no to taking any revenue generated by the casino. This rezoning proposal for property to be used as a data center may not be as good as it looks. I've been reading a lot of data, a lot of information on data centers and their impact on communities. While reading, I found several articles where they are predicting within 5 years data centers will become obsolete because of the advances in technology. Heck, after our county invests so much of our money into this project and it taking roughly 5 to 10 years for it to be up and running, by then we may end up with just another empty shell building. Saturday, I did visit the Microsoft data center in Borden with 2 friends. According to their website, the building is 1,100,000 square feet, and it sits on 175 acres in a very rural area with a population of less than 500. Just a comparison of the size of the buildings. Excuse me. The Tyson chicken place that they just built in the Airside Park is only 325,000 square feet. So how many of these monstrous sized buildings can they build on 945 acres? Sorry. I found out something rather unusual recently, but I'm sure the members of the board are already aware of it. 2 of the investors represent the Southside Investment LLC group. For the Hugh Jackson housing complex, Tony Sala and Tom Gallagher are the 2 main investors of the Anchorstone LLC group. Wow, that sounds a little crooked to me. Both of these projects have been brought to the board with roughly 10 months apart, with the Axton project being a positive one. To the Anchorstone investors, I'm sorry I upset you at the last meeting with the community at the Ringgold Fire Department when I asked you who propositioned you to bring the rezoning for this data center to our community.
3 minutes is complete.
Thanks for letting us know that the land has not been bought yet. Yes, you are having to wait and purchase the property with the contingency that the board passes a rezoning of the 945 acres. It makes you wonder what else is coming our way.
Thank you, ma'am.
Willie Fitzgerald.
Welcome, Mr. Fitzgerald.
Good evening, Mr. Dawson.
Fine.
All the board members.
Mr. Fitzgerald, are you representing a group, you said?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Well, if you represent the group, you can have 10 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
As you know, I'm Willie Fisher. I live in Bannister District and have lived in Pennsylvania County all of my life except the time I was in the Army and went to Vietnam. But tonight I'm back here because I'm concerned about citizens in Bannister District and mainly robbing court at this particular time. Back in 2020, I was serving on then the Pennsylvania County Community Service Board. Around July of 2020, the Board of Supervisors, I don't know if any of you was on it then or not, went into closed session, came out of closed session, and disbanded the Community Services Authority Board. They never spoke to any of us or told us why, what they had in mind or anything. At that time, we had millions of dollars in that Service Authority Board budget. So where that money went to, I do not know as of today. About 2 or 3 months later, we did get a letter saying that we were no longer needed. Well, at that time, I was concerned about the water situation in Robin Court, which was a bad situation. The citizens in Robin Court deserve better water service than what they get. They have to pay their water bill just like any other citizen that receives water or sewage in the county. Some of the water is brown. Some of the citizens have to go buy drinking water to drink. It's my understanding that if one is taking a shower and somebody else cut on some water, they don't have pressure, or don't they lose the cold water pressure? The big tank out there probably has, I don't know, the sediment probably that deep in it or deeper. This is a young lady, she's on the speak. She is one of the citizens of that area, live in that area, and she can tell you more about what they're having to go through with. After the Service Authority was disbanded, later on, I was contacted about they wanted to get a grant to come through there to run a water line. What has happened to that, I do not know. I'm also concerned because I have, as a school board member, there are children that live down there, and they are having to put up with this water situation. They deserve better. She will tell you more about what they're having to go through with.
Hi, my name is Glenda Johnson. I live in Robbins Court, right here in Pennsylvania County in Chatham. We've been dealing with this for, I know, 50 years. I raised my kids with dirty water. Now I'm helping raise my grandkids with dirty water. We turn on the water, rust come out. We can't drink the water. It's brown. The tank is rusted. Great big rusted tank. They bought a tank out last year. We thought we was getting a new tank. A couple of days later, they moved the tank. So we don't know what happened with that. I know that there's a lot of people out there getting sick. Everybody that in Robbins Court, just about everybody, been dealing with cancer. It's cancer all up and down the road. Everybody died from cancer. And I'm thinking it's coming from that water tank. That tank I'm 64 years old. They bought that tank out there when I was 11. We paying a water bill just like everybody else. The only thing we want is clean water. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
So we would appreciate it if this board were looking to doing something for that situation out there. It's not, all the good recognition y'all gave this afternoon to the basketball team, the baseball team, and the ag complex out here, why can't they get some water out there at Robin Court? If they pay their water bill, they deserve better. Thank you. And I gladly answer any question that you may have.
We don't have any. Thank you, Mr. Fitzgerald.
Okay, thank y'all.
Yes, sir. Ms. McCluster?
I have Glendora Johnson listed next. Are you good?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
She's the one who just spoke, yes.
And Rux Kennedy.
Welcome, sir.
Good evening. I'm Rux Kennedy. I live at 3074 Cedar Road in the Dan River District. I'm here to express my opposition to the rezoning request number 3 on tonight's agenda. I have no problem with data centers. I have a problem with turning a residential area into a data center. The county has existing locations where any kind of industry or data center can be located. So why is it justifiable to change this property? Clarks Mill Road and Cedar Road are very small country roads. Any additional traffic would be a burden on us residents as well as anybody trying to get to and from a business. You may remember that several years ago, the landowner had requested rezoning of this property, and this board found that it was not justified and denied that request. And I would like to say that this request is also not justified and it be denied. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone
That's all,
else?
Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, Ms. McCloskey. Moving to item 10 of public hearings, rezoning public hearings. Pursuant to Article 5, Division 6 of the Pennsylvania County Zoning Ordinance, the Board of Supervisors have been empowered to hear, decide specific zoning issues and zoning map changes in support of said ordinance. In accomplishing this important task, the board is responsible for promoting the health, safety, and general public welfare of the citizens of Pennsylvania County. The board must ensure that all of its decisions and regulations be directed to these goals and that each be consistent with the environmental comprehensive plan in the best interest of Pennsylvania County, its citizens, and its prosperity. In case 1R-24-009, Mr. Arnold. Welcome, sir.
Good evening. Case R-24-009, Sean Barber has petitioned to rezone 0.22 acres located on State Road 777 Yorkshire Drive in the Callens-Gretna election district from R1 Residential Suburban Subdivision District to A1 Agricultural District and 0.01 acres from A1 Agricultural District to R1 Residential Suburban Subdivision District to allow the property to be consolidated with adjacent parcels zoned A1 and R1. Once the property is rezoned A1, all uses listed under Section 35-178 are permitted. Once the property is rezoned to R1, all uses listed under Section 35-222 are permitted. On June 4th, 2024, the Planning Commission recommended by 7-0 vote with no opposition that the petitioner's request be granted. The staff summary is enclosed in the board packet, and Mr. Chairman, Sean Barber is here to represent the petition.
Thank you, Mr. Arnold. At 7:56, I open the public hearing in case R-24-009. Do we have anyone signed up to speak?
No, sir.
All right. At 7:56, I close the public hearing on case R-24-009. Mr. Dudley, would you
Yes,
do
sir.
this for me?
Mr. Barber, is he here tonight? Is there anything that you'd like to add to this case? Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, in case R-24-009, I make a motion approving the rezoning of 0.22 acres from R1 Residential Suburban Subdivision District to A1 Agriculture District and 0.01 acres from A1 Agriculture to R1 Residential Suburban Subdivision District to allow property lines to be adjusted. Mr. Chairman, that is my form of motion.
Motion by Mr. Dudley, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Tucker. Any further discussion? Not hearing any, we ready to vote? I don't have one, Mr.
Dalton. All right, Mr. Dalton.
Yes. All right, motion carries unanimous. Mr. Barber, your property is being rezoned.
He just left.
Okay. All right, moving to.
You
all
got
right,
it,
thank
brother.
you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Moving to case R-24-010. Mr. Arnold.
Case R-24-010, Natasha and Daniel Gasser have petitioned to rezone 47.67 acres located on State Road 621, Primitive Baptist Road in the Tunstall Election District from RC1, Residential Combined Subdivision District, to A1, Agricultural District, to allow for the placement of an accessory structure. Once the property is rezoned to A1, all uses listed under Section 35-178 are permitted. On June 4th, 2024, the Planning Commission recommended by a vote 7-0 with no opposition that the petitioner's request be granted. The staff summary is enclosed in the board packet, and Mr. Chairman, Daniel Gasser is here to represent the petition.
Thank you, Mr. Arnold. At 7:58, I open the public hearing in case R-24-010. Do we have anyone signed up?
No, sir.
Thank you. All right, at 7:59, I will close the public hearing in case R-24-010. Mr. Ingram, the pleasure is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In case R-24-010, I make the motion approving the rezoning of 47.67 acres from RC1 Residential Combined Subdivision District to A1 Agricultural District to allow for the placement of an accessory structure on the property.
A motion by Mr. Ingram, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Height. Any further discussion? Not hearing any, we ready to vote?
Mr. Dudley?
Yes.
Mr. Dalton?
Yes. Motion carries unanimous. Property is being rezoned. All right, moving to case R-24-011. Mr. Arnold.
Case R-24-011, Anchorstone Advisors, Sova LLC has petitioned to amend the Pennsylvania County Comprehensive Plan future land use designation for a total of 945.79 acres from medium and high density residential and commercial to industrial and rezone the same properties from R1 Residential Suburban Subdivision District and A1 Agricultural District to M2 Industrial District Heavy to allow for a data center complex. The property is located on and off of U.S. Highway 58 and State Road 735, also known as Cedar Road, in the Dan River Election District. Once the property is rezoned to M2, Industrial District, Heavy, all uses listed under Section 35-402 are permitted. On June 4th, 2024, the Planning Commission recommended by a vote 7-0 with, this says with opposition. I'm thinking that's a... Oh, people spoke against, excuse me, thank you. With opposition, that the petitioner's request be granted. The staff summary is enclosed in the board packet, and Mr. Chairman, Tom Gallagher, representing Anchorstone Advisors, is here to represent the petition. And also in your agenda packet, you'll see a copy of proffers, which I also have a signed copy from all the property owners that I'll submit into record at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Arnold.
Mr. Gallagher?
At 8:02, I'll open the public hearing in case R-24-011. Mr. Gallagher, how you doing, sir?
I'm fine. Let me move this up a little bit. Greetings, Chairman Dalton, Vice Chair Tucker, members of the Board of Supervisors. Good to see some familiar faces and some new faces. I am here, Thomas Gallagher, on behalf of Anchorstone Advisors, Sova LLC, with respect to the proposed comprehensive plan amendment and the rezoning application. It's a couple initial things. I do want to thank staff. We've worked, through this process and the application, working with Emily and Dave and other staff members through the Planning Commission, prepping for that. And there were proffers that ran with that. We'll talk about that in a moment because they've been further enhanced, but I want to thank them. I know Emily's not here this evening, but they've been phenomenal. And then second, with respect to the Planning Commission's action, I mean, it was unanimous, and we have had 2 community outreach meetings, and we clearly understand the concerns. We do. And the other thing I will relay to you, my friend, is that I apologize again for our first community meeting because I had my hip replaced 5 months ago, and I never realized how much of a pain. So our apologies again. I'm referring to our first community meeting. We had it scheduled at the Ringgold, and we had it upstairs.
Yes, sir.
And we quickly moved it downstairs. But in any event, I'm going to take us through the slide quickly. One of the things that came up early on, especially at the Planning Commission, was data centers. And I think people have gotten a little bit more educated. But in terms of the site, as we discussed earlier, 58 East, I've got my, here around, down Clark Mill, around Cedar. Our plan is to have all construction and primary access off of this. And the reason we're requesting zoning, and one of the comments made about the why, who propositioned this. What I will say is that there's change coming, okay? And I think it's all going to be positive change, but notwithstanding that, there are things that come with it. And I'm happy to see the community involvement because I think things have been moving along and a lot of people haven't really been in the loop. So it's good to have that. It's, as I think it was said last year, democracy in action. What we're talking about is a data center, and this would be the first one in Pennsylvania County. And for those that are not familiar with data centers, they're basically the digital library. They're the backbone of everything we do. And the requirements for data centers is just continuing to increase. The AI, everything from agriculture to military and national security. And that's what's going on right now. So that's what they do, and everybody that has a cell phone, you're tied into a data center somewhere. Talked about that. Benefits to the nationally. So they provide reliable, secure, and voluminous connectivity for everyday web users and for everything else I mentioned. They're pretty, on the outside, they're basic warehouse buildings, okay? And I'll talk about in a moment one of the benefits. So these are different examples. Some are actual, some are architectural renderings. They are large facilities, and one of the other concerns was on the noise levels that came up. Under the ordinance, oh, there we go, I'm backing up, is 65 decibels at the property line, which is a normal conversation voice. That is not only the ordinance, but we've also included that in the proffers. We heard about light and the impact of light. What I will tell you is that we are committed to dark sky principles, which is basically those listed herein, which is basically reducing the amount, the areas, the periods, and using, I think under 3,000 kelvins. But in any event, because of the way that we are laid out, and we have 945 acres, and we're going to flip back to the plan in a moment, we have the benefit of a lot of space between certainly existing residents as well as other agricultural areas. Talked about the connections. Let me back up for a second. All right, from a tax revenue benefit standpoint, and talked earlier about, someone mentioned the county and what the board's been doing. I think this is an opportunity for the board to move something forward, which is a high yield, low impact revenue source. All right, and it's one that obviously a lot of counties around the Commonwealth have taken advantage of. Some of them are probably too dependent on it now. Loudoun County right now is getting about 30% of their revenue from data centers. And as, I forget who mentioned it, we don't know in 5 years what the technology is going to be. And I don't think they will become obsolete. But they might not take up as much room. So it's a valid point. The flip side of that is the opportunity is also unknown in terms of the growth potential, okay? I imagine in a few years, Pennsylvania County is going to have a couple of data centers, honestly, but time will tell. Talked about we've got, again, going to location, we are at, I'm going to go to, actually, I'm going to tap my plan, sorry. Okay, speaking to the reasons why we came forward with this site and the benefit of this site is, yes, it is currently zoned residential, okay, and we've got parcels that are zoned both agricultural and R1. But from a comprehensive plan standpoint, from a proximity to power, which is a key function for a data center, water, sewer, and as importantly, or most importantly, dark fiber right in 58, which was a huge investment. And so from a comprehensive plan standpoint, it makes a lot of sense. You get the landfill, you've got a number of other industrial parks on both the south side and north side of 58. So from a data center, from a comp plan standpoint, we think it makes perfect sense. And in terms of the land use and the opportunity, we are 100% focused on a data center. We did, as a part of the follow-up after the Planning Commission, we enhanced the proffers because they want to make sure that, if something happens where it's not a data center, that we include enough information there that the other permitted uses that we are going to be adhering to the code, both in terms of the site layout, regulatory, and the noise limitations. Trying to think. I'm happy to answer any other questions. The other thing I would say on the proffers is another one that actually two others. We originally had a 50-foot buffer off of Cane Creek and Tom Fork. After, I think, based on comments that we heard, comments that staff heard, we had follow-ups with Mr. Hunt, Mr. Arnold, Ms. Ragsdale, and we increased that to 150 feet off of the regulatory floodway for Cane Creek and Tom Fork, which will, I don't know the exact measurement, but will be an enhancement above what's certainly required. And I think with that, I'm happy to answer any questions. Or, in terms of next steps, if we're successful in getting this approved this evening, we will be filing for a special use permit and looking forward to a hearing at the Planning Commission in September and at the BZA in October. So that's kind of our schedule. And in the meantime, we're working through coordinating with all, with the city of Danville, with the county on all the different components that are going to allow it to happen. So with that, I will be quiet.
Thank you, sir. We're good?
Yeah.
Mr. Got a question, Mr.
Yeah, I've got a question. Thank you for your presentation. Also, thank the folks that come out and spoke tonight. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Question, these data centers, and I know that it's been in discussion, but as far as supplying power enough to operate these, could you tell me what your plans are there? And the upgrades to the three-phase transmission, you tell me.
Right. So that's one of the key things that we're working through right now. And
Absolutely.
There were some serve letters. Anyway, we are in direct contact with Danville Utilities, working closely with them. There is a power study underway with AEP on the point, with input from other users, capacity, from the Danville, I think from the county, across the board to figure out what it's going to be.
Yes,
okay.
sir.
So right now we've got a number says it could be this over immediately. It could be this in 18 to 36 months. I honestly don't think right now nobody knows until the report's out. Then we will all be enlightened as to what the real deal is. The other thing I would say is that from a power standpoint, there's a lot of technology. There's a lot of stuff that's going on right now that could have a fundamental shift in how these things are powered. And by way of example, there's where you've got big trunk lines for gas, right? There's opportunities for data centers there because there are systems now where they can convert efficiently to operate data centers. That's not what we're talking about here in terms of our primary is working with Danville Utilities and AEP. So that's a key task for us right now. We don't know the exact power available, but we have a comfort level, all right, that there's power there. And also we have, and this is somewhat intangible, but a comfort level knowing what we know about what's going on in the data center market, that there are other solutions coming down the pike that will alleviate some of the concerns. Because right now, nationally, in the county, it's about, it's not really a production issue, okay? It's really about the transmission grid.
Yes,
it's about the ability to get it from A to B.
That's correct.
With
yes.
solar to get it back, all of that.
Yes.
So I don't know if that answers your question, but that's where we are.
Okay.
I mean, is there, I'm not sure if I can.
Yeah, I didn't know how many megawatts you was looking at, the usage as far, I know these consume a lot, and the available megawatts in the area, I'm pretty certain with the study it's probably going to show you're going to have to produce a lot of power in order to operate. And of course, I think you're going to use water to cool.
But, well, to be determined, honestly, because again, the technology is coming on, so the facilities are water cooled.
Yes,
okay?
sir.
Some of them are not.
I got you.
Yeah, so some of them use more traditional, either chillers or HVAC rooftop systems.
Okay.
Good. Thank you, Mr.
Yes,
Dunn.
sir. Thank you.
Any further questions? All right. Thank you, Mr. Gow.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Daryl, I'm sorry.
Yep, I'm sorry. Mr. Bowman has a question.
Yes, sir. Just a couple of questions here, and it has to do with the infrastructure. Where are you getting the water from for the cooler, and is that coming from Danville?
Yes, sir.
And are they providing lines to hook up?
Well, we'll be connecting, there are existing lines, and again, this is, I got it wrong, existing, Kevin? You trained me well.
And also, the other question is
no,
sewer.
That was my.
Sewer
Yeah, so-
is part of the proffer too. So the sewer, is that part of a, I know we're not talking about just, the in-house sewer, for flushing commodes and all, but is that going to take the wastewater that is used in the cooling away? I'm not sure how that works.
Yes. So, yes, it would be, I mean, it's a typical system, but yes, so the water and sewer is located here. And within the proffers we reference, everything on site obviously is our obligation, and those components where it's an upgrade that's accommodating our increased usage, there'd be participation in that as well. But if it's not water cooled, then it's, but then there's probably, you're going to have a little bit more electrical use. I will tell you, it was interesting that this is another one about technologies, but Las Vegas right now, they have a closed system on their domestic water. So all the water they use domestically gets recycled. So it doesn't leave the system. Anyway, and aside.
So Danville will be providing water, and will they be providing the sewer also?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm just trying to get clear of, excuse me, what is, and they're providing power. So Pennsylvania County is providing the land. Basically, you're looking at a rezoning of 900
Correct.
plus acres. I mean,
Yes.
that's what you're looking
And then, and then the benefits on the backside from the increased tax revenue based on the data center model, which is why it's a high yield.
So your phasing of all of these buildings is going to take place. When do you think the first construction would start on the first building?
Depends how fast we move from here, but construction, I mean, that's probably in the 18-month, like starting 12 to 18 months on a fairly good track.
Okay. So you have, and I think we talked about this before, you have an entrance already picked out as not to disturb the current homes that are already in place, so you could get construction equipment to the site and back without too much problem with the existing homes?
Yes, as noted in the proffers, the intention is that the 58 exit will be the primary exit, both for construction and for regular operations. But for life safety reasons and others, I mean, there will be other connection points. Exactly where, we don't know yet because we've got to work through that with VDOT in terms of sight lines, location, all that.
I'm just
but the
concerned
primary purpose is, the primary objective is off of 58.
Yeah, I'm just concerned about the construction phase
Right.
of the project. Daily
Yes.
traffic, there are not that many cars that are going to come in once it's up and running. You're not going to have that much traffic from staff, employees that are going to be working there at the building.
Yes, no, you're absolutely correct, Mr. Bowman. From a traffic standpoint for a data center, it is really during the construction, and that's why we'll have a highly coordinated with both VDOT and the county. I mean, the maintenance of traffic plan in terms of the flagman, and I foresee we'll have, some XL, decel lanes that VDOT wants us to put in up there to make sure that there's distances that, work for everybody.
Okay. All right. That's all I got,
All right,
Mr. Chair.
thank you, Mr. Bowman. Any further questions from Mr. Gallagher? All right, that's it. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Do we have anyone else signed up, Ms. McCluster?
Yes, sir. John Daniel.
John Daniel. All right. Welcome, Mr. Daniel.
Welcome, Mr. John.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Chairman Dalton and members of the Board of Supervisors, my name is John Daniel, and I'm from the Tunstall District, but I'm here tonight representing the Pittsylvania County Industrial Development Authority as their Vice Chairman in the absence of Dr. Joey Fawcett, Chair. And we'd like to present a resolution supporting the 58 East Data Campus at 3670 South Boston Highway in Ringgold, Virginia. Whereas the Pennsylvania County Planning Commission unanimously supports the rezoning to M2 of 3670 South Boston Highway, Ringgold, Virginia, for location of a data center, and whereas the data center's developers' voluntary proffers include restrictions for the land's use to exclude other potential M2 uses like rendering plants, racetracks, and landfills as future development. And whereas the 58 East Data Campus site has adequate amounts of electric, water, sewer, fiber, and natural gas capabilities to support a substantial data center project like this. And whereas the 58 East Data Campus has direct access to a 4-lane Highway 58 and Danville Expressway designated I-785, and thus incurs a negligible traffic impact. And whereas this location has more than adequate access to a labor force of over 600,000 persons within a 60-minute drive. And whereas the Pennsylvania County Board of Supervisors amended the zoning ordinance to permit data centers like this one by a special use permit, and whereas this data center has the potential to create a tremendous benefit to Pennsylvania County because of the substantial economic impact it brings and significant enhancement to the county's overall tax base. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Pennsylvania County Industrial Development Authority unanimously supports the rezoning application for this data center at the 58 East Data Center Campus, 3670 South Boston Highway, Ringgold, Virginia, given under my hand this 20th day of June 2024, and this was signed by Dr. Joey Fawcett, Chair of the Industrial Development Authority. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Daniel.
Thank you, sir.
Do we have anyone else signed up?
That's all, Mr. Chairman.
All right. At 8:22 p.m., I'll close the public hearing in case R-24-011. Mr. Height, the pleasure is yours.
Case R-24-011, Anchorstone Advisors, Silva LLC, requested amendment of the future land use designation from medium and high-density residential and commercial to industrial and rezoning from R1 Residential Suburban Subdivision District and A1 Agricultural District to M2 Industrial District Heavy. Before I make my motion, I've been accused of not caring about the Mountain Hill community. Where I live, my wife and I bought over 38 years ago. And in our backyard was tobacco fields. Maynard Barker owned about 100 and some acres in there. And I looked forward to living right there with a tobacco field in my backyard. Well, time marches on and things changed. Development happened. Why? Because I chose to live close to the city limits to be convenient, and I ended up with an industrial park in my backyard. Tyson Foods, Arrow Farms, I can almost throw a rock and hit them. When LK moved in with their cabinet manufacturing, I was upset at first, but I'll be honest with you, I've learned to accept the fact progress happens. I couldn't stop that progress. And with this recommendation, with this data center, I've looked at it hard, I've looked at it long. And I know a lot of the people in that neighborhood still have a bad taste in their mouth about what happened in the early 1970s. That can't be changed. But with the proffers that have been offered by these investors, I'm comfortable that you will see minimal impacts in the area. I really am. I will be surprised if you see any negative impacts. I mean, we're talking, a lot of proffers are put into place to make sure they've extended boundaries, the natural vegetation boundaries, the type of lighting that they're going to try to do. It's not going to be a Boynton data center. These gentlemen have done their homework. They're learning from other data centers things not to do. So I'm very comfortable, and I do not want to be on the, I don't want to be a supervisor in 10 or 15 years that people say, well, you had a chance to do something for the whole county to help with our tax base, and you refused to. I'm not going to be on that side. I know there's people in my community that are going to be mad, and I apologize if you're going to be mad, but I have to do not only what I think is best for our district, but I have to look, and we all seven have to look at the county as a whole and look long range. So, Mr. Chairman, I will make a motion that the rezoning application be approved.
I got a motion by Mr. Height. A second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Ingram. Any further discussion on the motion?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
This is deja vu for me with the accident development. And just like Mr. Height, you know, we don't haphazardly make decisions. It's time consuming, sometimes heart wrenching, but you have to look to the future. We lost tobacco, we lost textiles. Even though we have some pretty good industry coming in, what do we really have for the future that will help us pay our bills and help keep our tax rate low? Not a whole lot. We have a promising future. And to have this opportunity of a data center, which is becoming very popular throughout the state as well as the country, and this is the way of the world. Everybody that has any kind of technology, it's complements of data centers. And so with this, I agree with Mr. Height. Those that live closest to it are not going to like it. And it's not that we don't care, but you have to do what's best for everybody. And I've said many, many times, I want to leave this county that I dearly love better than I found it. And so to provide opportunities for my children and my 8 grandchildren, I want them to have the opportunity that I didn't have when I worked in that tobacco field or when I worked in Dan River. And so with that, I do second the motion, and I'm glad that we have investors that's willing to take the time and to make the type of investment that's needed to make these things happen. And I think we're very fortunate in that capacity. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Ingram. Yes, sir.
Mr. Height, can you, just so we get this very tight and technical, because you're really approving 2 things. You're approving potentially rezoning and the amendment to the county's comprehensive plan or future land use map. Can you read that motion that was written to you by staff on page 123, or do you want me to just read it about this case? Is that good? What else do I need to read? Well, let me read you what the motion was, and then you can agree or disagree with it. In case R-24-011, I make a motion amending the county's comprehensive plan future land use designation for a total of 94.79 acres from medium and high density residential and commercial to industrial, and rezoning the same 945.79 acres from R1 residential subdivision district and A1 agricultural district to M2 industrial district heavy. And it should say with the proffers offered by the petitioner, okay? All right, thanks.
All right.
That would be my motion.
That clarifies your motion,
Yeah,
Mr. Height.
yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's good.
And you'll second that?
I'll
Mr.
still
Ingram?
second it, yes, sir.
All right. We have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion?
No, sir, Mr.
If
Chairman.
not, we are ready to vote. I don't have a screen, Ms. McCluster.
Okay. Mr. Dalton.
Yes. All right, motion passes unanimous. All right, moving to other public hearings. Each person addressing the board under public hearing shall step up, give his or her name and district, and his or her place of residence for non-county citizens in an audible tone of voice for the record, and unless further time is granted by the chairman, shall limit his or her address to 3 minutes. Speakers for a group shall be limited to 10 minutes. Speakers shall conclude their remarks at that time, unless the consent of the board is affirmatively given the extended speaker allotted time. Absent chairman approval, no person shall be able to speak who has not signed up. In public hearing, solar power siting agreement. Mr. Rowe, is he here?
I'm going to take this one, Mr. Chairman.
All right, Mr. Hunt.
Thanks. Good evening.
Welcome, sir.
In 2021, the General Assembly passed legislation giving localities additional measures to further regulate the development of utility-scale solar energy facilities. This legislation requires that any solar project or any energy storage project applicant give the host locality written notice of the applicant's intent to locate in the locality and request a meeting to discuss a related siting agreement. Once a siting agreement has been negotiated with the county, a public hearing must be held before it can be executed. This public hearing tonight has been duly and legally advertised and noticed. For the board's review and consideration, the proposed siting agreement for the Tupelo Solar Project located on RFA-owned land at the mega site is included in the packet starting on page 146. With the chairman's permission, I'll just quickly walk you through the highlights of this potential solar siting agreement, which has already, to my understanding, been approved by the RFA board. This is a 55 megawatt storage facility. It's a battery storage facility, so solar will charge batteries. They will be housed there, and then they will take the energy up into the grid on peak times. This is a 55 megawatt storage facility. Over the lifespan of this agreement, the client will pay to the county, which they will obviously share with Danville due to our revenue sharing agreement for RUFA joint owned property, $2.869 million. They additionally, on top of that, will pay $825K in other payments that are triggered at certain construction points. The county has negotiated this. County staff think that this is an important and good deal, and RUFA has already approved this. So with the chairman's permission, it's appropriate to open the public hearing now as required by law and see if anybody has any comments on this. After you close it, I can answer any more questions, and then a vote would be needed to execute this siting agreement.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt.
Thank you.
At 8:34 p.m., I open a public hearing for the solar battery siting agreement. Do we have anyone signed up?
No, sir.
At 8:34 p.m., I'll close the public hearing for the solar battery siting agreement. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr.
Yes, sir,
Chairman.
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Ingram.
As the chairman of RUFA, as Mr. Hunt has already stated, we've looked at this, and as a board, a separate board, we've approved this. So I make the motion approving the execution of the attached siting agreement for the Tupelo Solar Project.
Motion by Mr. Ingram, second by Mr. Tucker. Any further discussion? If none, we're ready to vote.
Mr. Dudley?
Yes.
Mr. Whittle?
Yes.
Mr. Dalton?
Yes. All right, motion passes unanimous. Moving to item 2 for our public hearing. This is the Pennsylvania County Code tax exemption on property. Ms. Vanderheide.
Yes, so the second public hearing that you all are receiving citizen input on tonight is on the proposed changes to Pennsylvania County Code Section 6-6, and it's regarding the elderly, disabled, indigent real estate tax exemptions. This public hearing has been duly advertised in the Star Tribune for the past 2 weeks to provide sufficient notice of tonight's public hearing. Revisions to this code section include changing the annual income threshold level from $25,000 to $35,000 and increasing the net worth maximum from $60,000 to $70,000 and increasing the maximum exemption from $450 to $600. And that is for tonight's review from you all. That was located in your board packet. I hope you've had a chance to look at all those revisions. And I just want to add that this is something that will take effect January 1 of 2025, and we will make sure that we get sufficient notice to all of our citizens in the next round of bills. We're planning on having flyers placed in those mailers so that everyone is aware of the program and that we may have more elderly folks that would plan to apply this coming year.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Mr. Bowman, you have a question?
No, I don't have anything.
You good? Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you, Ms. Vanderheide. All right, at 8:37 p.m., I'll open the public hearing for the Pennsylvania County Code 6-6 revision for the tax exemption. Do we have anyone signed up?
Yes, sir. John Zielinski?
Thank you. Welcome, sir.
John Zielinski, Chatham Blair's. Just a quick question. How many people does this affect? Do I get an answer on that?
We're not in the answering
Not
the
an
question session, sir.
It's a
We don't
question.
know.
Nobody knows.
No.
do have any effect on what this is going to do in the future? I'm all for it, by the way. I'm all for it. And going through the numbers, there's 59,591 people in Pennsylvania County. Out of that, there's 25.5% over 65. And out of that, 16.4% of that, which is roughly 2,491 people, would be in the poverty level that would meet this particular criteria. Ms. Van der Heide made a comment that I was concerned about, and that comment was that there's going to be a notice out to all the people so they can take advantage of this. And that's really what my main concern was on this whole thing. I'm all for it, by the way. That's it.
All right, thank you, sir. Anyone else signed up, Ms. McCall?
No, sir.
At 8:38 p.m., I'll close the public hearing for the Pennsylvania County Code 6-6 revisions for the tax exemption. And I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make that motion.
Yes, sir, Mr. Bowman.
I'll second it.
Second by,
Okay, I make a motion approving the proposed changes to PCC Code 6-6 as presented.
motion by Mr. Bowman. Second, Mr. Ingram?
Yes, sir, I did.
All right, second by Mr. Ingram. Any further discussion? Not hearing any, we ready to vote? I don't have
Mr. Dalton?
Yes. Motion carries unanimous. All right, moving to item 11, any unfinished business? Do we have anything?
No, sir.
All right, any new business?
No, sir.
All right, moving to 13, on matters from the work session, we're going to have 13A. There was a resolution for the drought.
Mr. Chairman.
I'll entertain some motion for that.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve resolution number 2024-07-05, declaring a local drought disaster in the county as presented.
Motion by Mr. Height. And a
Second. I'll second that.
Second by Mr. Dudley. Any further discussion? Not hearing any, we ready to vote?
Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
Mr. Dalton?
Yes. Motion carries unanimous. Moving to item 13B. That's a resolution for the Stanton Plaza grant application. I'll entertain a motion.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, some of this was discussed earlier, but I make a motion to approve Resolution 2024-07-06 in support of the Stanton Plaza grant application as presented. I'll have some comments on it once we make a motion and get a second.
Motion by Mr. Dudley. And a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Height. Any further discussion on the motion? Mr. Dudley.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, as many of you know, the town of Hurt has struggled through the years since there was an industry called Klopman Industry shut down many years ago, I don't know, 14, 15 years ago. And the mayor there has really tried very hard to get some business in town and upgrade the plaza. And, you know, Matt Rowe, our Director of Economic Development, and hopefully through grant application that we can get some money to upgrade the plaza roof, secure it in, have the facade look really nice, because I'm not sure if the last time you've drove through there, but it's not very presentable. But with this this motion from the board, and I want to thank everybody on the board, thank Matt Rowe, the Tobacco Commission, hopefully with Stanton River Plastics coming where the Klopman plant was at. Along with this, they've got a solar farm that's going to come out on the backside over in Hurt that's really not seen. It's in a perfect place for that. That this will really revitalize and bring some attraction to our local town. I know the town council is working hard, doing what they can, but I just am very, very proud that we've got this opportunity possibly to get some grants and help on this. So thank you all so much. Thank you for the second, Mr. Height, and I guess we're ready to vote.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Dudley.
you, Mr. Dalton.
Yes, sir. Any further discussion? If none, we're ready to vote.
Mr. Bowman?
Yes.
Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
Mr. Dalton?
Yes. Motion carries unanimous.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it so much.
Moving to 13C, EMS drug box funding. I'll entertain a motion.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, I have that. I make a motion to appropriate a total of up to $160,000 from unassigned fund balance to cover the cost of EMS drug boxes for all volunteer EMS transport stations and to reimburse any agency who has already purchased any drug boxes.
Motion by Mr. Ingram. Thank you.
I'll second that, please.
We've got a second by Mr. Bowman. Any further discussion?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned in the motion 160. Was it 155? Is that what we discussed? Is it something different?
That's probably for the reimbursement. I don't know.
Okay. I didn't know. I'm just
Let's
asking.
see.
I know we discussed 155.
Right, and I had heard anywhere from 155 to 158. And so just to be safe, we wanted to make sure it was enough in there to cover that plus any kind of reimbursement.
So it's up
So it
to
should be okay.
160,
Right.
correct? Okay, all right, thank you. I wasn't questioning your motion or the second. I was just, I knew we'd said 155. I didn't know where the other five come from, so.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Dudley. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I would like to make us all aware, especially public, we're helping with the cost of the drug boxes. These departments that do ambulance service in the county have been forced with this mandate by powers above us. These departments have already had to undergo expenses to build specialized pharmacy rooms in their departments, security systems, locks. We're not just taking care of the whole bill. They're paying for the physical construction in their buildings, and we're trying to just help with the actual cost of the drug boxes that are going to be required in just a few months.
Thank you, Mr. Height. Any further discussion?
Mr.
Yes,
Chairman.
Mr. Ingram?
I serve on the Fire and Rescue Commission, and we've talked about this quite a bit over the past few months. And like Mr. Height said, this is big government shoving something down your throat, the compliments of the FDA. And so I'm very proud that this local governmental body can help take the burden off of our priceless volunteers. I have said so many times how grateful I am that we have over 600 volunteers and a good public safety department. And this just allows them to not be strained with providing services for those in need to where they can use that money for other needed accessories or equipment. So I appreciate the support of this board because this is very important. Like Mr. Height said, several departments had already invested in a secure room to put these drug boxes. And having been in a hospital recently, I can really appreciate being able to operate pain-free. So thank you with that.
Thank you, Mr. Ingram. Any further discussion? Not hearing any. We are ready to vote.
Mr. Bowman?
Yes.
Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
Mr. Dalton?
Yes. Motion carries unanimous. Moving to 13D, the new solid waste building. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I'll offer a motion to approve the purchase of a modular building in the amount of not to exceed $250,000 from Box Modular to be used for office and break room space at the landfill.
All right, we got a motion by Mr. Tucker, second.
I'll second the motion.
All right, second by Mr. Dudley. Any further discussion? If
Mr.
none-
Chairman.
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Chairman,
Go ahead.
I would like to point out that the majority of these funds have already been budgeted for solid waste. I think it's about 11,000 that's not budgeted, but
That's right.
they're already included in the solid waste budget as carryover in the current year, so
Yes, sir.
it's already
That's correct.
accounted for.
Thank you, Mr. Height, for that comment. Any further discussion? If none, we're ready to vote.
Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
Mr. Dalton?
Yes. All right, motion carries unanimous. Moving on to item 14, our board members' reports. Mr. Whittle, you have anything to say tonight, sir?
Not much, man. Just want to thank the staff, thank the fire and rescue, and thank the sheriff's department for all they do for the county. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Whittle. All right, Mr. Bowman.
Do I get some of his
Comment,
time? I get some of Mr.
Yeah,
Whittle's
you'll
time.
get about 30 seconds.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So recently I attended the open house and announcement of God's Storehouse, and where they received a $50,000 grant from T-Mobile, along with a new van that enables them to expand their backpack food program into Pittsylvania County schools. Also attended the RIFA meeting this past week at the Institute on July the 8th. Was proud to volunteer with the Moffett Memorial Baptist Church and Rise Against Hunger project this past Sunday. When over 60 Moffett members prepared 10,150 meals. We had an assembly line where we learned how it works to be in a factory setting as we measured, poured, sealed, labeled, packed, and loaded rice soy meals to be sent to Haiti and the Philippines. Attended the beautification committee last night. This committee is ready to kick off plans for the upcoming fall cleanup to be held late September, early October. They also have programs planned for the fall to educate school students about litter control, to include reading books to classes, skits for school assemblies, coloring posters, and engaging school clubs in the fall cleanup. This is a very engaging committee who has already taken the lead in communicating with the mission of the committee to the schools and to VDOT. Also, Saturday, I hosted a meeting with the Chatham Blair's Board appointees this past Saturday, to discuss areas and concerns within their respective boards. Some of the topics discussed came from the representatives of the Library Board, Planning Board, IDA, and Fire and EMS. This was great turnout, great dialogue among the members, and if the other board members haven't done so, these folks here are very engaging and will share a lot of information with you. So I would recommend, if you haven't started a little group like this, I'd be glad to talk to you and tell you how it's working and help you set that up. And lastly, during the recent assassination attempt on former President Trump, I'd like to ask that you keep all elected officials, staff, law enforcement, EMS, all the victims and their families, and former President Trump's family in your prayers. This was certainly a tragedy by all accounts and should have never happened. And with that, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bowman. Appreciate that. Mr. Ingram?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to save up for next time, but I do want to compliment our county administrator, our interim county administrator. He's doing a great job. I'm very fortunate to have him. And I agree with Mr. Bowman. Not only do we need to pray for our country, we need to pray for our community as well. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Ingram. Mr. Dudley?
I don't have anything, Mr. Dalton. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dudley. All right, Mr. Tucker?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me say that we've had a good meeting all afternoon. Everyone's done a marvelous job. thank you to the staff that, as I always say, do all of the heavy lifting to make our job easy. I want to very quickly address one thing. You know, we're not supposed to speak during, the public comment, and sometimes the residents forget that. But to anyone that might be watching by way of Facebook, and if you're in Robin Court, we have addressed that situation with the water. I think it was in November of 23. Pennsylvania County received $1 million grant, or a little over $900,000 grant for water out in that direction. So that should be happening post-haste. So it's not like we're asleep at the wheel. We are addressing that. And again, thank everyone that came out to speak tonight. And we just appreciate all the constituents in the community. And I concur with the other board members. We not only need to pray for past President Trump and his family, but we need to pray for our nation and our elected officials. And even we now can take a page from their notebook, wherein we tone down the rhetoric and we get rid of the vitriol, because at the end of the day, we're all on the same team. And I think at the end of the day, we all want the exact same thing for our great country and this wonderful county that we serve. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Tucker. Mr. Height, any comments, sir?
Like to thank staff for all their hard work. Like to welcome our interim administrator on board, and hopefully we'll have time to get together in the next week or two. It's kind of hard to catch up when you work full time. Maybe I get old as y'all guys one day and I can retire and I won't have to work full time.
Wait a minute.
But I just would like to thank our staff for keeping us on point. I'd like to thank all the citizens for coming out tonight, for everything that was said. I know tonight I've made some more enemies. That's okay. That's why we're elected to make tough decisions. So we had to make some tough decisions tonight. Would like to also congratulate the Gretna Hawks, man. Those, but I will remind everybody. Who did they lose to?
Look, we've got them on the August agenda.
That's right. Lost to the Wildcats. But but no, all kidding aside, I hope everyone does pray for our country. Saturday was something we don't ever want to see happen in this country. And I think we as citizens need to pray that just unity. We need unity, not just in our nation, but, here in our localities. We need to come together, and work for the common good of everybody. Are we going to always make everybody happy and please everybody? No. You're never going to do that, but you do what you think is the best for the citizenry, and that's what we've got to do. And I just ask everybody to keep praying for our nation and keep praying for this county. We need to keep going forward. There's brightness ahead. We know it's coming, and we just got to, hold to the plow and keep working. And yes, I did hold a plow when I was a young fellow, and I did walk behind a mule.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Height. Well, y'all always steal my thunder, but I'm going to thank everybody again. I want to thank all our staff, thank all the citizens for coming out tonight. Great turnout. We had a great meeting. I also had the opportunity to attend the God's Storehouse meeting that day. It was very, very nice. Great organization. They do a lot of good things. And also want to recognize and congratulate the Gretna Hawks again. Great job to them. And everybody be safe on the way home. Thank you again for coming out. And everybody continue to pray for everybody, all the board members, our county our country as a nation too. With that, Mr. Shorter, do you have anything, sir?
I'd just like to, Mr. Chairman and board members, I'd just like to thank you again for this opportunity to serve the county in yet an additional capacity. I deeply appreciate the communication and support I've received from you all and look forward to helping move this county forward. I also want to let the board know that I've initiated a review of county departments to potentially identify any operational inefficiencies or any potential cost savings, and I look forward to bringing those back as we find them to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shorter. Mr. Hunt, do you have anything, sir?
Let's go home.
All right, thank you. Meeting's adjourned.